Mr. Edward, in your article written in the magazine, American magazine Foreign Policy, you say that if accepted in Sofia, the French proposal would touch off a political crisis in North Macedonia. Then you say that this could be a crisis for US President Joe Biden as well in the Balkans. How do you relate those things, the relations between North Macedonia and Bulgaria and Washington?
Yes, US interests now are very much focused on Russia. Bulgaria is on Black Sea. But the government up to now has been supportive of Ukraine and supportive of NATO and the United States policy and European Union policy on Ukraine. That is the government of Kirill Petkov. They've been supportive. The president, Rumen Radev, is not very supportive of that. And the former defense minister, Stefan Yanev, was even calling it a special military operation. So, and he could return as a caretaker prime minister after Petkov. So we would have a Putin guy in running the show again in Bulgaria, a NATO and EU ally. That's a big problem for President Biden. That's a big problem for NATO. In addition, we have a loyal NATO ally here in North Macedonia that has completely fulfilled all requirements on support for Ukraine. We have that government led by President and the leadership of President Stevo Penderovsky and the Prime Minister Dimitar Kovachevsky. We know that they will face severe criticism and concern and attack because we've already seen it from Vimro, from Christom Mishkovsky. So we've already seen the reaction to the French proposal here. So we are, for President Biden, he's going to have dual crises here in two countries. The relations between the two countries will be worse. These are both NATO allies, and this is a concern for the United States.
Something happened in the meantime. Today, the French proposal was accepted in the National Assembly in Sofia.
Yes.
In the meantime, the Macedonian Prime Minister refused the French proposal. And the media here were happy to grab one sentence from your article, saying that the idea of affirming Macedonian identity is natural for an experienced politician such as Biden.
Yes.
What do you mean by this?
I mean, Joe Biden is familiar with this issue. As a presidential candidate in August 2020, he gave a statement which had never been given by any prior U.S. presidential candidate that formally, in written form, congratulated Macedonian Americans on the Ilinden holiday, associating it with as a Macedonian holiday. So he's familiar with this topic. He's familiar with these issues. He was he's already been president for 2 years, but vice president for 8 years. He was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. He knows the Balkans extremely well. So he understands these issues. That's number one. And he also understands this, that you cannot allow within the NATO alliance one NATO country to bully another NATO country because it's bigger and it has bigger size, or in this case is a member of the European Union. It is a NATO issue. We cannot allow Turkey and Greece to come and have this and have Turkey do some type of aggression on Greece because it's bigger and take some island in the Aegean. We cannot allow that because this is an alliance, a NATO alliance. So we cannot tolerate the United States aggression, identity aggression, exploitation of power in this way. This is serious, and this is not small issues. Identity of people is connected with the identity of a state. It's connected, the progress of the state is connected with good relations between Albanians and Macedonians.
Internal stability.
Yes, and internal stability. These are our interests. And the other thing we have to remember is Vladimir Putin's interest is division and conflict. Division between Bulgarians and Macedonians, division between Albanians and Macedonians, Serbs and Kosovars, all of it. That is Vladimir Putin's interest. That's what he wants in Ukraine. That's what he wants in Balkans. Division, conflict. U.S. has an interest in halting that. And that starts by the United States affirming in official form, in written form, the Macedonian identity.
Mr. Џозеф, how likely is this to happen? Officially recognition of the Macedonian identity, nation, and the language, and how that could stop the bullying policy from Sophia towards Skopje?
Sure, those are two questions, but both are great questions. On the likelihood, look, I can't make some prediction, but what I can say is we have a precedent, it's in the article noted, of President George W. Bush in 2004 recognizing the Macedonia by the constitutional name. And so we had that precedent there, and that answer connects to the second question, the impact on Sophia. People can say, well, Greece continued. It's true, but in the end, that recognition was very important, and the same will have of the former name. Why? And this has the same impact, but much faster impact in Bulgaria. Why? When the United States affirms the Macedonian identity in this way, what is the signal to Sophia? The signal is you can never win. You can never erase the Macedonian identity. That is the signal. That's the signal that they need in Bulgaria, which in a way is easier than in Greece. There are differences there, but politically, in Greece, there was consensus on this issue. In Bulgaria, there's not consensus on this issue. There's leaders like Petkov who would like to address these issues. They have their concerns. They're allowed to have their concerns, but they discuss them with your country, with North Macedonia, in a line with the Friendship Treaty, giving historic commission. Let historians discuss and debate this on the basis of expert approaches, not on the basis of power. We are more powerful than you, therefore we don't have to respect our obligations under friendship agreement, and you have to listen to what we say about our version of history by using force. That's against NATO principles, that's against European Union principles, that's against American principles and interests.
What do you think, from your point of view, why the French presidency practically replicated all the Bulgarian conditions in the French proposal for so-called compromise? Today, in the Bulgarian parliament, it was said that that doesn't mean lifting the veto, but making it even stronger with the backup of the EU in the future.
You heard their interpretation. This is, you see, the understanding in Bulgaria is that they can continue exploiting.
Even stronger.
They say even stronger, but that's their interpretation. And this was even said, and I mentioned this in the article. Even one from Petkov's party, Getchev, said that they can continue to block anytime. So the question is, what is advanced? Now, your question is, why did the French do this? The French did this. Why? Because I don't think they had bad motives. I don't think Macron had bad motives. The problem is weakness. The problem is European Union weakness. So Macron, and like other European Union countries, and also, of course, the United States, which is not a member but wants this, they're desperate to lift this veto. So the problem is they're very weak, and Bulgaria has this advantage, and it's willing to use this advantage, exploit, abuse the European Union process. The rule is, and the protocol is in the European Union, you are not supposed to bring in these bilateral issues into the accession process. The accession process is about, does North Macedonia qualify? Do you make reforms on rule of law and these other issues? It's not about, oh, and by the way, we have this complaint over history and over language. They're not supposed to do that. And Macron, out of some desperation, but also the European Union is weak. So they said, oh, okay, we will give Bulgaria this constitutional amendment, and then in exchange, they will lift the veto. So that is kind of like the trade, but it's not it's a very dangerous trade. It's a dangerous trade for the European Union itself, not just for North Macedonia. It's a dangerous trade because it creates the precedent in the European Union. Other countries will say,
Which could happen again.
which other countries will say, you did this for Bulgaria, then you must do for us. You know, look, all of these countries have these complaints. Historic complaints and similar type challenges. Look at Hungary and Ukraine. Hungary has these history challenges against Ukraine, and that they're even using now. Can you imagine in Ukraine now, as EU candidate, when its process eventually opens, Hungary can say, well, we want to do what Bulgaria did. You let Bulgaria do this, we want to do this. And try to force Ukraine to give a Hungarian version of history. So this is bad for the EU. It's bad here. Here it's very bad, and in the Balkans it's very bad.
What could be now the prospect of this process?
Well, this is the reason I wrote the article. I don't like to just say, oh, there's a very serious problem and not give a solution. So I identify the problem and I give a solution. And the solution is from United States. This is why United States is still important. The United States is important in Ukraine. European Union shares the same approach and the same perspective. European Union is horrified by what Putin is doing in Ukraine, but needs United States power to lead this effort to stop Putin in Ukraine. And we need United States power to halt this identity aggression and this bullying from Bulgaria. We need United States to step in and give assurance in North Macedonia that the United States recognizes Macedonian identity, and give a signal to Bulgaria, you can never achieve your goal. You will never erase the Macedonian identity, and that's the key.